Eric, you
What?
specifically. I know you enjoy Renaissance fairs, as to some extent do I. I sense he has some grievances. However, I sometimes find myself frustrated by seeing people in costumes at clan gatherings and Highland Games. Costumes which are not significantly related to Scottish traditions, or at worst, seem like silly fictionizations. This can feel a bit like mockery to me. What are your thoughts as one of the many folks who have a foot in both realms?
Oh, you don't know me half as well as you think you do, boyo. I haven't actually been to a Ren Fair in about 30 years. I am I am not a Ren Fair person.
Get off the show.
I know. I mean, I have plenty of friends who are into that. I've had friends who want to get me out to one again just because it'd be a social outing with them. And I'll probably do it this year, honestly. Yes, Micah, I'm talking to you. But I am not a Ren Fair person. I was a living history person. And I was in the SCA, which is not strict living history, but it does have this idea that you should kind of look like the time period that you're representing with the thing you're doing, as opposed to looking like a freaking elf.
Why did you turn into an old Jewish man?
Because I was trying to go for Joyzy, but...
okay, fair. There's a lot of old Jewish men in Jersey.
I was trying to go for more for like my cousin Vinny kind of vibe.
Got it.
It's either The Sopranos or
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I a Ren rat to you? Do I make you want to go tra-la-la?
I can't do Joe Pesci without cursing.
Go get your shine box.
In all seriousness,
Renaissance boy.
I understand where he's coming from, because basically Renaissance fairs actually, back when they started, which is like the 1960s in California, the very first one was extremely historically accurate, to the point where the only sideshow stuff you had was people demonstrating Renaissance era skills. Like you could see somebody weaving, you could see somebody blacksmithing, they would have baking demonstrations, all that. Over the decades, as it caught on as a business model and an entertainment as opposed to a community project, which it originally was, it's gotten more and more loose, to the point where now it is Ren fairs are very much fantasy, except in sometimes, if not, I guess most of the time, the core players.
The actors must be. Yeah.
No, not all the actors. Plenty of actors are fantastical also.
Okay.
And you got a lot of Captain Jack Sparrows out there kind of guys. But usually whoever's playing Queen Elizabeth and her courtiers, they will look very accurate. Not seriously accurate from a historical costuming standpoint, but at the very least, some of them are good, but from a theatrical costuming standpoint, right? And the knights, a lot of time, the jousters will look okay, but they're like the hub of the wheel, and around them are all these different zones. Like you go to the fair now, it's like your kids can go blow bubbles with a fairy over here. You can do a semi-authentic blacksmithing demo over here, but you can go to a stage here and see some guy whipping a cigarette out from between some girl's boobs with a bullwhip, because entertainment, and we're all ribald, jolly, randy, sexy medieval people,
Yep. And then there's the pirate ship.
And there's the pirate ship, and then you have my friends going around in Star Trek uniforms. So what happens when you take people who have outfits for Ren Fair and wear them to a Highland Games? I agree. I think it could feel really tawdry, for lack of a better term. Costumey, yeah. I mean, caricaturish. I do know there are some people who go to Ren Fairs in stuff they normally use for living history, and they stand out because they're more
because they're good. Yeah.
Other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think? Is it okay in the sense that this is supposed to be a festive event? It's supposed to be fun, so they're showing their joy, or is it on some level disrespectful of the core of a Highland Games or Celtic gathering?
Hold on.
I need answers, sir.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
We're
gonna go viral, everyone.
Here's where he sinks the company. I tend to agree with you. I think that I'm happy to hear that I didn't know the history of Ren Fairs, so to speak.
We actually did a video on it a few years ago.
I probably didn't watch it. I'm happy to hear that it started off more historical. I'm saddened in a way. I have this much of an inner history nerd. I'm saddened from that part of my core being to know that it has gone away from the history angle and more towards fantastical. Now, from a capitalist perspective, if that's what the people want, that's what the people get, and that's kind of the road that it took. I think there's a lot more room and accepting of that in those audiences, and don't get me wrong. I understand the impetus, the reason, like the drive to want to wear that stuff to more events. If you think it is, you bought it, so you obviously think it's fun. You like the thing. You want to wear it to more things because you spent a lot of money on the thing. And this is an event, or that's an event, or there's an event where people are wearing different things other than just normal today contemporary clothing. So I won't stand out as much, and people will accept me for wearing this weirdy kind of thing that I want to wear. Fantastical, not weird. Sorry. So I get the reason why you want to wear it. The reason I don't like it as much for Celtic festivals specifically is because you're trying to be a sincere student of the culture for a particular culture. You're there, a lot of people are there to experience that particular culture, to experience that particular music, that particular food, those particular, dancers and things like that, bagpipe bands, whatever it is. They don't want to see the guy with the Crusades outfit on, or they don't want to see Braveheart blue face paint that's not historically accurate. They don't want to see those things. They're there to learn and get the real experience, or as close to it as they can, not in Scotland, not in Ireland, here in America. So by doing that, you're almost doing a disservice to the other people there, because if you have young kids, they're going to be like, oh, well, that guy has his fairy costume on. I guess it's part of this culture. I guess that must be correct because I see this thing here at this event. And it's kind of mixing fantasy and history, or fantasy and culture together in a way I don't necessarily like.
I think that a little spice is okay because it is a festival atmosphere. But I think it has to be just a tiny bit. Like if you have like boots, I will forgive Ren Fair style boots, like Turtle Island moccasins kind of thing, or Son of Sandler, one of the big fancy boot sellers who does the medieval-esque. Sure, fine, okay. I think that's okay for festival garb. I think a Highland dress shirt, or a Highland shirt, a Jacobite shirt. Yeah, that is kind of the context in which those things are meant to be worn.
But is it a slippery slope?
It can be a slippery slope, and you can't arbitrate people's taste.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to. I don't think Highland Games or Celtic festivals are going to reach a point where, like the Ren Fair, they devolve to that point where people treat it like a street fair. I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I don't
think so.
It's the American way to put our own stamp on it. So I hope it doesn't devolve into that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a good way, for the record. It's our way to kind of mix things together, and I want this thing to kind of be its own thing in the same way if I'm going to a German festival, I want to see German stuff. I would also say it's almost, my guess is, or my thought is, it's pretty much up to the festivals themselves. So like when we go to Celtic Classic, I know there was a period under previous, not ownership, but previous, director, 20 years ago, where they were allowing in like window wizards and bath fitters and other vendors to their event, or other things to their event that had nothing to do with Celtic culture. So it started watering it down. And once you reach 15, 20, 30, 40% of the vendors being completely like having nothing to do with it, it feels weird and out of place and different. And guys, remember, if you want to look up your own tartan, you can do it for free. It costs nothing. If you head to USAKilts.com, at the upper part of the website, you see the search bar. Type in your surname or your last name of anyone in your family tree that came from Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, and our website is going to show you if there's any tartans associated with your name.
How about if somebody is wearing 18th century accurate Highland dress, like a Jacobite? Is that acceptable?
I would kind of feel fine with that because it's going towards living history type stuff. It's going towards sincere student of the culture. It's going towards education. It's going towards reality, not fantasy, whifty-farkle, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
How about Civil War reenactors?
at a Celtic event. Mm-hmm. Are they reenacting the Fighting 69th?
Usually.
Then okay, fine. And
But
a lot of these events...
I've also seen World War I reenactors. I've seen Irish Republican Army.
Yes.
Not IRA, but the Republic of Ireland Army. But,
yes, but there's... your examples that I am aware of are coming from Celtic Classic, where they did the Fighting 69th little encampment thing, and they had a living history experience, and you can walk through, and they would talk to you,
right?
Like as docents, essentially, at a museum.
That's what they do.
The dude that does the Irish IRA military uniform, likes talking to people about this stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's a amateur historian or real historian. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a living history person.
Yeah, nice guy.
He knows his stuff.
Exactly, but that's the point, is talking to those people. And when you ask someone, hey, why are you wearing that? If their answer is, because this is an accurate representation of a Jacobite Highlander from 1745 rebellion, great, tell me more. If your answer is, because I saw it in Braveheart and I thought the blue face paint looked good with this tartan, then no.
Then why are you okay with people who are selling like resin dragon-shaped incense burners and
did I say I was
pagan
okay with
stuff? And I mean,
there's a
whiskey stones and
Whiskey?
T-shirts that have like Viking World Tour on them. I mean,
there's a softening of it, and there's a gray area.
There is there? Okay.
Is the dragon the national or not national animal? It's on the Welsh flag, so you can. There's a reasonable. There's some reasonable, plausible deniability.
Rationalizable.
Yes, rationalizable.
Rationalize
yes,
it.
Indeed. There's a gray area. Yes, I would rather have more authentic stuff at a festival than I am at. But it's it's not going to get my hackles fully up for certain things. For others, I don't know.
What about in the kids area? Is it okay to have a fairy blowing bubbles or a juggler? If you're
dressed as a court jester,
kids?
Esque. Yes, it's.
Here's the thing. I think you reach a point where it's either very focused on a certain thing, like a Highland Games is about the athletics, and you decide that's it, and maybe band performances. Or it's a festival like Celtic Classic, and then you're always going to have a certain degree of street performers and wandering, traveling merchants who go to a Celtic festival this weekend, go to a Ren Fair next weekend, go to a community craft fair next weekend, and they're selling T-shirts all the time. You're always going to have, because it's a street fair. So
there's always a balance.
I think that's what we're coming down to. Is there should be a balance.
There's always reality of capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
There's reality of the festival has to make money and has to fill up their vendor spots. So the vendors, they're trying to get as many in who are authentic as possible. Those vendors also have to make money to be able to come back the next year. So they have to sell things that people actually want to buy. Mm-hmm. So if people want to buy Welsh Dragon incense burners, great. I guess we're selling Welsh Dragon incense burners. So there's a whole ecosystem around this stuff. Mm-hmm. It's the question is the broader strokes. Does it lean more traditional or does it lean more fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
Marty, what are people out there on the interwebs saying here?
Largely, you're right. It's balance. It depends on the context. Depends on the type of festival you're at. If you're explicitly at a Highland Games / Celtic Classic kind of thing, having like Master Chief from Halo walk by would be a little weird. Whereas at a Renaissance fair, where it's more,
where would it not be weird?
Renaissance fair. But that's kind of the thing there. There was kind of an adjacent question that we had here.
Okay.
Clamper, 1827, said, "My 13-year-old grandson is going to spend the summer with us and asked for a kilt. Mm-hmm. What are your recommendations for places to take him to experience his heritage where we can both wear our kilts?"
And honestly, a Ren Fair would be an example where you kind of could. Anywhere.
Especially if it's a Celtic weekend. So sometimes Ren Fairs have like a Celtic-themed weekend.
Yep.
So any Highland Games, any Irish festival, any Celtic festival, broadly speaking, I would take them to an Irish pub restaurant. Especially if it's like a really good, authentic one. We have Molly McGuire's here in Phoenixville. There's a lot of, there are some, college bar with Irish decorations level of Irish pubs. And then there's some that are actually, pretty authentic. So I would say take them to any of those types of events to kind of steep them in the culture a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's that, and also just let him realize that, like we always say, there's no bad time to wear the kilt. So just do whatever you're normally going to do. Just both of you wear a kilt. I think historic sites, museums, that's my bias, obviously. Yeah.
I have one more.
As long as he has fun with it.
If there is a either trad or like a rock kind of Irish band that happens to be in the area, I would take him to a concert. I would take him to a show. I would take him to see and experience the music because it's another part of the culture that really sinks in and imprints on kids' brains. Like everybody loves music.
So is people dressing up as mermaids. They had Marrow and Kelpies and people in Celtic mythology.
Right.
Do you want to see what I have made you look like if you were in a Renaissance Fair outfit?
Oh, heavens. Oh, my. Why is my head so small?
Because my Photoshop skills are okay, but they're not great.
So
and at least it's Photoshop, not AI, my dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
So you are a kilted pirate.
I'm surprised. Did someone stick something under my kilt?
Yeah.
Woo!
And I'm just kind of like your generic Lord of the Manor guy.
Fair.
Alcoholic.
Fair.
Yes. No. I'm serving my friends.
Oh, okay. Those aren't all for you.
But
silver.
Here's the thing. If you're going to go to a Ren Fair, I think the point is Ren Fairs are their own thing. They are their own culture. And another reason why a lot of people like to go to them is because they are supportive usually of people who swim through various subcultures. Okay, Ren Fairs tend to be, because they're a dress-up event and a fantasy world, they tend to be more open and supportive of people who are not mainstream people. So there is that, and I know from my college days, just Ren Fair is its own tribe of its own. It is its own community of its own.
And for the record, I want to just point something out. This is not us bashing on Ren Fairs.
No, not at all.
And like a lot of our customers enjoy the Ren Fair and have at it. What we're saying is like there's different strokes for different folks and or different horses for different courses. So if I'm going to a Ren Fair, I would dress a particular way. If I'm going to a Celtic festival, I would dress a different way.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I think I would not put on that outfit that I obviously own in that photograph for going to a Highland Games. But here's the thing that gets me.
My ears are big too. This is very off-putting.
Your ears are big. I did this on a time constraint.
Not enough chest hair.
Okay. Careful what you wish for.
Photorealistic, baby.
My point is, I think that if you're going to do something historical, try not to mix your metaphors. I wouldn't do that going to a Ren Fair myself personally anyway. But if I was going to a Highland Fair but I wanted to wear something more fun, okay, but try to keep it simple. You know? You know, try to not mix your metaphors. Do not be a kilted pirate. Leave the Elizabethan doublet at home. You know.
Yeah, when you mix too many things, it looks like a dog's dinner. Like it.
Yeah.
It always when you do something and do it well and do it precise and exact, it looks best. When you try it like, ooh, I have this tricorn hat from when I was a colonial reenactor, and I have this French doublet, and I have these riding boots from the colonial war, and I have this,
Outlander.
When you want to mix all the things because you own the pieces, they don't necessarily go great together, or it looks like a dog's dinner. I would rather do the one thing, do it precisely, and do it well, than go too crazy.
Or at least just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I mean, a mug holder, a Renaissance Fair mug holder, is a great idea for any event, frankly.
Sometimes, and the simpler you keep it, sometimes there is some latitude, some
Right.
crossover ability with one thing to another thing. Flat caps are not, or scallop caps are not specifically Highland wear, but it's pretty damn simple. It's headwear, and it works with a kilt, so we wear it with a kilt. But it's not explicitly for that particular thing.
Although I said this in an article we just published on this, that there are flat caps or flat cap adjacent hats that were worn for deer stalking, and to this day are, and by gillies working up in the Highlands. So I would argue that it is close enough to the most traditional of Highland dress that you could consider a flat cap more this style than your style based on. But anyway, now we're tangentizing.
Yes,
so.
Indeed. I hope that helps. Marty, what do we have for the interwebs for people? Or for questions or something? I don't know.
Well, people are, kind of expressing how they go dressed. One guy said, Time Lord Council said, I tend to wear my great kilt and Jacobite shirts for Ren fairs and not much else.
But a great kilt and a Jacobite shirt.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so bad.
No, and
honestly.
frankly, you can, like, any of this stuff, fantastical or not, wearing it out for, like, general daily wear to the grocery store, if you want to, stick out and get the attention and have fun with it and just be, that guy, have at it. There's nothing wrong with that, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I because you're not in a particular cultural setting. You're in, everyday culture.
But I would leave you leave the obvious fantasy things, like the elf ears or the armor pieces. You don't need your hand worked leather pauldrons. For going to the grocery store.
You might get,
Aldi's getting expensive.
It is.
I would wear a pauldron.
Yeah.
Got